Within only 2 days of Baldur's Gate 3's newest patch, someone has already found the developer toolkit needed to not only create new levels, but potentially entire campaigns. What this means to me is that we'll have no shortage of content for years to come. But what to do until then? Creating levels and voice acting characters takes time, and while Dragon Age Veilguard looks like it might be fun, I need something to really scratch that CRPG itch. I want turn-based combat. I want to make tough decisions, and above all else, I want that robust D&D flavor. One sunny day while scrolling through the comments, I had an idea that was totally mine and not influenced by anything else at all. Why not play through Divinity 1 and 2? Surely they're worth considering if Larian made them. And turns out, yeah, holy shit. Larian's reputation wasn't built on just Baldur's Gate 3, it was reinforced by it. While it may not be officially D&D flavored, it might as well be. I mean, come on. What is this? Let's be real. So let's jump on into the first Divinity Original Sin, right after a quick ad break. Thank you to Displayed for sponsoring this video. So you may have noticed this Dark Souls poster right over here. I've had that display for over 2 years now, and it still looks just as good as the day it was gifted to me. Unlike regular posters, displays are made with a durable steel, while still maintaining a smooth finish and vibrant colors. With over 2 million designs available, you can discover new original art or choose from officially licensed designs. If I was able to find something as obscure as a Minsk and Boo poster, then I'm sure you'll find something from your favorite movie or video game. One of the reasons I love Displayed so much is that it doesn't destroy your walls with screws. Instead, it uses magnets. I actually put this up in less than 5 minutes. It was so incredibly easy. I also wouldn't put a heavy metal poster right above my monitor if I wasn't confident it's not going anywhere. Displayed is made in the EU, but shipping is still incredibly fast, arriving in 4 to 5 business days. They also recently launched a new product called Textra, where they take the posters and add the most stunning 3D textures and gloss finish. So click the link in the description or go to displate.com and use code BISCUIT to get 22% off 1 to 2 displays or 30% off when you buy 3 or more. That's 22% off 1 to 2 displays or 30% off when you buy 3 or more using my link in the description or code BISCUIT at displate.com. I do sincerely love these posters, and I think you will too. Thanks so much, Displate. Now back to the video. I start my adventure by creating my characters. Plural, because Divinity gives you 2 main characters. This seems a bit bizarre at first, but the story makes sense of it later on. Unfortunately, there isn't much depth to the character creator, but I did what I could. For my characters' classes, I made Dixie Normus a Ranger and Mike Hawk an Inquisitor. Then for flavor purposes, I had Dixie take the talent called Pet Pal, which allows her to talk to animals. In Baldur's Gate 3, this was a pretty cool mechanic and it helped in some cases, but in Divinity, it is amazing, especially for first-time players. The amount of help you get from random rats running about can be the difference between working on a puzzle for 10 minutes or an hour. For Mike, I gave him the Politician talent for charisma checks, and now I'm ready to start the game. A cutscene quickly tells us our characters are part of an organization known as Source Hunters, whose sole purpose in life is to take down evil mages called sorcerers. As of right now, all we know is a city councilor in the town of Sicil was murdered, and sorcerers are suspected of committing the crime. We arrive outside the city and find ourselves on a beach. After switching some controls around, I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable and move inland. Before long, our duo comes across some cultists who are none too happy to see source hunters in the area. They summon a handful of undead and immediately book it. A quick examination tells me these creatures are weak to fire. So, fire damage it is. The action points, or AP for short, above our health bar determine everything we do in combat, from movement to using our skills. Balancing this resource is the key to surviving, and I had to learn it quick, because this game is ruthless for new players. The undead menace is quickly dispatched and I proceed into the tutorial dungeon. It's here where the game delves into the many mechanics that make Divinity so much fun. One of my favorites being the ability to move objects around, and even use them to cover things like poison vents. It also has us interacting with the 5 or so elements that are in the game, which in turn all respond to each other differently. Water removes fire, while fire ignites poison. You get the gist. Another fight with a few more undead, and we're back under the sun and at the city gates of Sicil. At this point, I really couldn't handle the camera controls any longer, and I took a break to download a camera mod. I also got one that's supposed to reshade the game, but I'm not entirely sure it looks much better than it did before. Before entering the town, we're introduced to a character named Arhu. He's also the one who asked the source hunters for help and gives us an idea of where to start on the murder investigation. Everyone already seems to think it was the wife, but it's our job to ensure the correct perpetrator is brought to justice. On our way to the scene of the crime, the King's Crab Inn, and a gentleman proposes we join his adventuring guild. It's right about here that I realize this game is incredibly whimsical and takes nothing seriously. I've been here barely an hour and I've met a cow that can read fortunes, a talking clam, and I've already joined a Ponzi scheme.
Should you propagate the gospel of the Fabulous Five and thereby draw new knights into our fellowship, you will get a share of the reward from their contracts too. Isn't that wonderful?
God damn it. It's a Ponzi scheme, right? Is this supposed to be a joke about Ponzi schemes? Our characters head inside and start probing the patrons for information about the murder. The first woman we speak with has literally the most atrocious southern accent I've ever heard. There's a ton of really great voice acting in this game, but this is just unacceptable.
What they want in Hunter's Edge, I can't say, but it's my responsibility to send them packing.
We do, however, need a fighter on the team, so we invite her to join. No one else in the bar has any useful information, so we head to the scene of the crime. As soon as we walk through the door, a blinding light pulses from a stone, sweeping us off our feet. When we awaken, our heroes find themselves in an entirely new plane of existence. It's certainly one of the more stunning areas we get to visit in Act 1. We're introduced to an imp historian named Zigzags. According to him, this rock we're standing on is located at the end of time, where he's been observing all that was, is, and will ever be. He has us peer into his telescope, where we catch a glimpse of a large black dragon, foretold to bring about the end of times. Before we have a chance to wrap our heads around everything that's happening, another portal opens, and through it we're introduced to the Time Weaver. The golden tapestry she weaves is being devoured by the power of the Oblivion Dragon. But as we interact with Starstones, the very same stone that teleported us here, the tapestry begins to mend itself and the end of time is delayed. And so, the overarching plot of Divinity Original Sin is revealed. Collect Starstones by exploring Rivellon and stop the end of times. 10 minutes ago, I was playing Clue, and now I'm trying to halt the apocalypse. Very cool. Back in Sicil, and Arhu reveals that he and Zigzags are old friends, and he'll be continuing to assist us through our journey. Since a starstone was found at the scene of the crime, it's best we continue the murder investigation. Now, I may be a bit biased because I love a good whodunit, but in the 30 hours it took me to complete Act 1 of this game, this was the most fun I had, and I'll show you why. The only real suspect we have so far is the council member's wife, Esmeralda. When we approach her, we find that she's really flirting with the guard posted here to protect her. This is a huge red flag. If Esmeralda was cheating on her husband, and the whole town seems to think so, she'd have good motive to have him killed. Upstairs, we rifle through her things and find nothing but an old pair of stinky panties. I'll be taking those, thank you. After breaking into her basement, we find large pools of blood and eventually a hidden room. While digging through her stuff, I am at this point positive she's the killer, but all we're able to find is a bloody knife. When confronted, she casually explains it had been used to cut up meat, which seems to check out considering the massive amount of pork downstairs. We're right back at square one with no suspect, so I decide to explore the town. Before long, I find myself in a library with a brooding, edgy mage named Jahan. He's obsessed with killing demons, which is like totally something I'm into, so he joins the party. Our heroes eventually find themselves at the graveyard where Councilman Jake was buried. His most loyal companion, a dog named Murphy, is found here looking for his master.
If I ever find out who killed Jake,
oh
the most
God,
awesome Jake, whoever Jake,
oh my heart can't take it.
I'll bark so much, seriously so much, you have no idea.
I love you, Murphy, you're such a good boy, I'm so sorry.
In the rain, nobody can see you cry.
He tells us that the smell emanating from this grave is not his owner, and after digging up the coffin, we confirm this ourselves. It's instead the corpse of a dead sheep. Murphy is upset by this news and gives us 2 more potential suspects, stating that both Aureus and Evelyn reek of death. He's even willing to smell articles of clothing from our suspects to determine if they smell like Jake or not. We have him smell Esmeralda's panties, and he had this to say.
Oh, take this away. It smells like every rich man in town except Jake. No, there's definitely not a hint of Jake here.
I was so taken aback by this. I was positive it was her, but the evidence speaks for itself. Esmeralda, it appears, has been cleared. I would trust a dog more than anybody else. I cannot tell you how much fun I am having doing this right now. This is so f***ing awesome. I know it's just like investigation work, but I don't know. It makes me feel smart. It makes me feel accomplished. I definitely feel rewarded for all the searching that I've been doing. Let's go speak to the mortician about this sheep corpse. At first, he was resistant, but thankfully one of our characters has a high amount of charisma and is able to charm him into telling the truth. He confesses to taking a bribe for Councilman Jake's dead body, but has no idea who gave him the money. Once again, we hear the name Evelyn pop up, and things are starting to make sense. She's the apprentice of the doctor here in town. Let's see if we can get an article of her clothing for Murphy to smell. Once we arrive at the clinic, we have a quick decision for our main characters to make about who will receive this last bit of life-saving medicine. We choose the younger man, and I guess the medicine that Evelyn was using was a starstone because the flashing lights happened again. With an article of Evelyn's clothing, we head back to Murphy for his professional opinion. Whoa!
This smells awesome! Too awesome! This has Jake's scent all over it.
Yeah, I thought so. We finally have our culprit. When we arrive back at the clinic for the confrontation, she's already gone. A note in her house shows she's retreated to a hidden cave in the far north section of Sicil. So far, we've done a whole lot of yapping. Let's go do some fighting. Not even 10 feet from the safety of Sicil's walls, and we're already in combat with the undead. While we know the general area of where Evelyn is, getting there isn't as easy as walking in a straight line. So we'll have to do some exploring. While everything outside of Sicil seems like it's just side missions, you kind of have to do it, because there's no quicker way to lose a fight than by being underleveled. Most of the encounters are pretty well balanced and really encouraged me to think outside the box. That being said, I'm not the best at strategy and ended up catching a lot of deaths. So I took my time and reveled in the formula that makes RPGs so much fun. Maybe some combat, then a puzzle, some more combat, and of course, lots of loot. Ooh, oh wow. By the time I finally arrived at Evelyn's cave, I had killed a few groups of undead, took down a giant robot, and slaughtered some pirates. A man sunbathing in the sand warned me not to go in the cave, but after a few successful charisma checks, he decided not to bother with me. I really didn't like how confident he was, so I attacked him anyways. There's 4 of us and only 1 of him, and I really don't like all that shit he was talking, so... Okay. Okay. That's enough. God damn it. I may have miscalculated our position. I died a lot at this fight, but eventually I was able to stun lock him long enough to cut him down before he could summon his minions. Come on. Thank you. Holy shit. Oh. God, that was tough. The enemies inside were a flurry of orcs and cultists before we finally reached Evelyn. She revealed herself to be a sorcerer and then dumped a shit ton of lore on us. Long story short, the woman we met when we reached the island is named Leandra, and she's a sorcerer and ultimately one of the main villains of the story. Her current plan is to bring back to life a powerful ancient sorcerer by the name of Brachus Rex. Why she would bring him back, we don't quite know, but we do know that Evelyn needs to pay for the murder of Counselor Jake. This is yet another fight made incredibly difficult by the sheer number of summons our foe surrounds themselves with. After a few deaths, I tried a strategy I was fond of using in Baldur's Gate 3. Find a choke point, cover it in anything that can slow down the enemies, and rain down range damage from afar. This proved to be incredibly effective, and Evelyn got exactly what she deserved. Oh, Miss Medora, you get the pleasure. At this point, I'm getting sick of struggling so hard in every fight I come across. So before moving forward to confront Leandra, I cleared the entirety of Act 1's side missions. I can't go over all of them as that would take all day, but let's talk about my favorite. While exploring the beach, I came across some enemies guarding a cave. Once inside, I found a group of undead pirates fending off some orcs. Turns out, somewhere in this cave is a starstone, and the orcs want it for their master. We cut down a bizarre source abomination and solved an incredibly frustrating puzzle to arrive at this dungeon's boss, Pontius Pirate. He would have probably been difficult as well had I not used another popular strategy from Baldur's Gate 3. Alright. Come over here and have a seat. And then our turn will pass. Nice. Goodbye. Nice. Very easy. Very cool. More side quests, more combat, more puzzles, more loot.
Oh, wow. You haven't been pinched in half or drowned.
Whoa.
Does that mean you're brave enough to help Desdemona? She sure misses something.
What?
Anything with those eyes sizing me up like so much rump roast.
What the fuck?
The ship that sunk and turned us all into phantoms? She was home to a sweet old tomcat, Oscar by name.
Is he referring to that cat that we met back at King's Crab Inn? Die, 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 you monster! You'll never hurt anyone ever again! Well, that was really dark. Eventually, I found myself at the church where Leandra planned to bring back Brachus Rex. Downstairs, we come face to face with the monster. Earlier, when I said this game has some amazing voice acting, this is what I was referring to.
Oh, by the emerald eyes of the goddess, would you believe that I can still feel it ever so vaguely?
The words blood and gravy aren't inherently gross, but together, it's kind of just freaking me out.
Blood, the thick red gravy. What fountains of gravy we had.
After all those side missions and all that loot we found, this is what we were preparing for. Oh. Are they being serious? Is this actually happening? Okay, maybe that was a fluke. Let's try again. Alright, obviously I missed some sort of power-up or something our characters get to help fight this guy. Let's check back in at the homestead. We had collected 3 additional starstones since we were last here. The first one unlocked a portal to a place called the Hall of Heroes, where we can send our companions when we dismiss them. The second unlocked a portal to a place where our 2 main characters can rest and store their loot. I loved this. Considering how long the game is, it's nice to have somewhere where you can store your loot and maybe even decorate by moving things around. The third starstone unlocked an elemental portal of our choice. This is where we're able to buy some of the strongest skill books the game offers. Lastly, we also learned that our 2 main characters have a second soul inside of them. These souls once belonged to famous heroes of the past who once conquered the void and won the respect of the gods. Essentially, we're the chosen ones. All of this was cool, but nothing here would help me in my fight against Brachus Rex. Feeling defeated, I went to Reddit. Yeah, it turns out Brachus is just super hard, but I found some great strategies for surviving the first turn. I started the fight by having Medora charge straight in at Brachus, which would result in the Comet Storm only falling on her. She survives somehow, and the rest of us use our action points to summon help to keep his summons busy. Turns out if all 4 characters just focus on keeping Brachus stunned, he's not that hard. I don't think he even got a second turn. Okay, just hear me out real quick. Hear me out. And be stunned. Thank you. Oh, hang on. Is this it? Oh, wow. Woo! Holy crap. That completes Act 1, and unfortunately completes this video as well. Normally I would play the entire game and then just bundle it into one video, but I'm on an upload schedule, and this took 32 hours to complete just Act 1, and that's without trying to even like be a completionist. So it's up to you, dear viewer. If you'd like to see part 2, which would be the remaining portions of the game, please let me know down in the comments. I'm enjoying the shit out of Divinity Original Sin. The art is really reminiscent of like the 2010-ish era, which was the prime area of gaming for me growing up. So I hope you check it out for yourself, and I hope you enjoy it. Huge shout out to the members. Thank you so incredibly much for supporting the channel. Members get access to perks like early ad-free access to our regular uploads and a members badge. If you're interested in becoming a member, check the description for more details. I'll see you all in the next one. Later.